because I do feel like if a task that could take 1 minute takes you 1 hour, there's no way that's really hard work. Welcome back. It is Monday and you guys know what that means. It's a new The AM with Amy, which is a series on my channel that happens every single Monday, and I sit down, I do my makeup, I chat with you guys about certain topics. Last week we did a topic submitted by one of you and it was on toxic friendships, so you can watch that up here. But this week I'm gonna do a freestyle. I'm gonna do a topic that I want to do, and then next week we'll do a topic submitted by one of you, so we'll kind of alternate. And if you want to be featured or if you want to send a topic for the next The AM with Amy, be sure to tweet me, DM me, send me an email with the hashtag The AM with Amy so I know that you want to be featured. But without further ado, let's get into it. If you see familiar surroundings or just furniture, I am indeed at my brother's new place up in the Bay. So if you guys didn't know, I used to live with my brother for about a year in LA, and then he got a new job and he's up in the Bay now. So he's in pretty much Silicon Valley. I love his new place. It's got downtown LA loft vibes, got a dog park, gym, a pool, everything, high ceilings, concrete ceilings, you can't see him. There's Diego. I actually drove up here on Friday to actually visit Diego and my brother, because Diego is at Berkeley now and I have never driven up here by myself. I usually fly because it's only an hour-long flight. This was my first time driving and let's just say I ain't doing that again. So I came here to visit my brother and Diego, who's at Berkeley, and I only spent a night there, and I was on campus for a couple hours, but so many of you in the Berkeley area came up to me and recognized me and said hi, and let me tell you, it was such an honor and a privilege to meet all of you guys. You guys are so nice and so studious, so I don't know, just a lot of bear followers up here, I don't know. So on my drive up here, I was actually very sleepy because the night before I stayed up till 3 or so to upload my 5 lazy outfits for school video, and I also packed really late, which was my bad. I should never have done that. I should definitely get a full night's sleep before driving for such a long drive like that. But I listened to a bunch of podcasts on the way, and I listened to a podcast by Planet Money, which is kind of like NPR's money, finance, economics podcast, I feel like. There was a really interesting episode called Hard Work is Irrelevant, and it's something that I really want to talk about because it's something that I have been really thinking about since I've listened to it. Very thought-provoking, and kind of makes you reframe the traditional model of how we reward work in America. Essentially, the podcast talks about Netflix's work culture, and it says that, let me read the description. Patty McCord helped create a workplace at Netflix that runs more like a professional sports team than a family. If you're not up to scratch, you're off the team. Is this the future of work? I think typically in American culture, we tend to reward based on how large the input is, but this podcast is kind of going for the argument that says we should be measuring success by the output rather than how much work someone puts into it. Because if you can do your job in 2 or 3 hours as opposed to 12 hours, that's what we should really be rewarding. And there's another podcast that I was listening to from the Life School Coach by Brooke Castillo, or with Brooke Castillo, saying productivity should also not be managed by how much work you put into something. She says something like, oftentimes when we ask people how long they've been working on a project, they say, I was working on it for 2 years, 3 years, but Brooke Castillo says that is a false sentiment towards how much work we really put into things, because it's not really productive work if it's work that you could have finished in 1 month that is just spread out over the course of 2 or 3 years. So she's saying even when she films a podcast, it doesn't really matter how long it takes to film a podcast, because it will take however long she gives herself. So if she gives herself 3 hours to make a podcast, then of course it'll take 3 hours to make the podcast. But she says every week and every time that she sets out time to do her podcast, she only gives herself 1 hour, and so she has to get it done in 1 hour. That really stuck with me because I think about how much time I usually give myself to do a task, when if I really just was productive and efficient in half the amount of time I gave myself, I could probably finish it, and that is the real measure of success or productivity, rather than just hard work, I suppose. And both of those podcasts were very enlightening to me, because it kind of made me think of my work ethic and how to reevaluate it. Just because you are spending a long time doing something doesn't mean that it is efficient or productive. And it was a very interesting. So in the podcast for Planet Money, they said that even if the person has been with the company for years and years and has producing amazing work, but when I think Netflix, which is the company that they talk about, Netflix's work culture, when they went digital, they basically didn't need much of the traditional media, and they laid everybody off. And of course, Netflix became huge or became popular through the traditional, sending in mail, and then now it's streaming wise. So it really hurt the people that they laid off, the department that they laid off. I'm probably also repeating this in a very shoddy way, so don't quote me on this. But basically, when they laid off that entire department, the department was so saddened by the fact that this was such a core group that helped Netflix become big, but when they didn't need them anymore, they were kind of just, cut off. And that is exactly what this podcast, or what Netflix's work culture, is getting at. It's saying that we are a professional sports team, and we are high performing, and we are not a family. So when you don't perform your best, you're gone. And a lot of times that sounds actually really quite scary, because if you have a family and you got bills to pay, and your boss just does not care about if the human aspects of an employee, it kind of is worrisome to me. In theory, that work culture and that type of work ethic probably does have the highest output, but also I feel like it sounds really scary, because oftentimes as employees, we're also humans with families and people to take care of, mouths to feed. So it would be really scary, for example, if I was a mother and my boss just did not care about the human aspect of me and really didn't, I get it, at the same time, your boss doesn't really have to care about your personal life, but it would just be, I guess I would be more grateful as a worker if my boss took into account, the lives that I have to feed. So that work culture, it just sounds really cutthroat, but I understand that Netflix is also the highest paying company ever, so if you choose to do well there, you are going to be very well taken care of. But it was just some food for thought. So I would love to hear in the comments down below if you think you agree with this work culture, and if you think we should switch to this, more companies should switch to this mindset or this type of culture, or if you kind of see it scary too, because I definitely the logic in me, it's like, yes, it makes sense, but then the empathy and the sympathy and the human, the heart part of me is like, oh, I don't really know if I want to work for Netflix or a company like that. Also, this podcast really helped me rethink, is me saying, oh, I stayed up all night to do this, when in reality I could have probably just finished in 2 hours sometime in the day. Is that really an indicator as to how productive, how efficient I am being? Because I do feel like if a task that could take 1 minute takes you 1 hour, there's no way that's really hard work. The podcast also said that the reason why hard work is irrelevant is because it doesn't always necessarily mean that you are going to get the output or the results that you want, in which case your hard work is totally useless. And I totally understand that. A couple years ago in Silicon Valley, the Netflix work culture handbook or guidebook that Patty McCord created got leaked, and I really want to see what's actually on that. My brother, who works in Silicon Valley, said that he read it and he agrees. Also, if anyone knows where I can find it, definitely link it down below. That would be awesome. If you're wondering where my brother is and Alicia, his girlfriend, they are actually in the room right there. And then Diego is off to view the rest of the apartment complex because there's like a giant chess playing court. There is a rooftop pool, gym, sauna. So I haven't even gone the full tour yet, but very proud of mi hermano. I think my brows are really scary today, but I have a lot of family up in the Bay, so I'm probably also gonna go visit my aunt and my cousins. Okay, this is what I'm most excited about. Diego and I went to the Stanford Shopping Center and we went to Sephora to pick up Fenty Beauty. So I picked up the Matchsticks Shimmer Skin Stick, and this is in Starstruck. And I actually really wanted to get the Kilowatt highlighter in the money something duo, but they were sold out. They were actually sold out a lot of things, and I was gonna get the foundation in 240, but they were also sold out of that. So this is what I got. I'm so excited. It's just a highlighter. And does this come with a brush? No, right? Yeah, it doesn't come with a brush. And for it being a cream product, it actually dries quite powdery and not so creamy, which is quite interesting. And I think it's better for those of you with oilier skin types. So definitely, if you have oily skin, do not shy away from the Fenty Beauty cream matchsticks. And you can use these as highlight, blush, contour. Oh, I didn't do my mascara. What? I just got so excited. But all of these are magnetic and they're honeycomb shaped, so I just think it's so cute. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and the Life School by Brooke Castillo is probably one of my favorites. I'm gonna link it down below. So the productivity one is not necessarily my favorite podcast that she's done, but it's just, I think it goes really well in conjunction with the Planet Money one I listen to. And I don't normally listen to Planet Money, I just tuned in, but I like most of the things that NPR does. So I'm gonna link both of the podcasts down below, and I think it'll be, if you're interested in a higher level of productivity and how to kind of harness that, I would really recommend listening to both of these podcasts, just because they're pretty eye-opening, especially in the sense of viewing yourself as a worker, and if you are using your time efficiently and reaching the highest levels of productivity, because I feel like most of us are not, to be quite frank. I'm not, and that's something I really need to work on. And if you guys have any podcasts that you think I would love, I love self-help and growth and productivity and, you know, achieving maximum levels of success, entrepreneurial spirited podcasts, if that makes any sense at all. So if you have any, definitely send me a link down below, because I would love to listen to them, especially since I have a long drive back home on Monday when you guys are watching this. The last Fenty Beauty product I got is actually the Gloss Balm, and I have been saying for a very long time that I am so ready for the liquid matte lipstick trend to die. It just looks so chalky and your lips look like they're desiccating. So I've always been a fan of moisturized glossed lips, so I was really excited that Miss Rihanna came out with it. But I'm actually gonna put on this one because it didn't have that much color when I tried it on in store. This stuff smells like strawberry. So that is, oh, everyone's here. No worries. Diego's come back, but thank you guys so much for watching this AM with Amy. Be sure to tune in every single Monday, because I'll be here doing my makeup regardless of where I am. I brought my camera here and my mic. Definitely hashtag the AM with Amy on Twitter, Instagram, or DM me, message me, whatever, email me, and maybe it'll be featured in my next one. And here's also a playlist, or here, there, wherever, of all my old AM with Amy's. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!